Alrighty, welcome back. I'm your man Bad Chad, and Queen Jolene's on the camera, and we are home. We went all the way to Houston Autorama. What a fantastic show. I must say that everything down there was top notch as far as the automobiles were. If you've never been to an Autorama, I suggest you take your kid or your partner and go to the Autorama to check it out. Get inspired to build something. There's so many fantastic people and cars that we met. We had a great time. I want to thank everybody that showed us respect. We want to show you respect back by saying thank you, and it was awesome. We want to thank Pete for inviting us. We want to thank a few other people: Larry, Jeff, Dave, who? Dale. There's a few names I'm forgetting at the moment. Laid Back Customs, Nick's Hot Rods and Restorations. There's a lot of people that we met. We had a great time with. Shorty, that's another name I remember. But anyways, we're back home. We're back at it. We're going to get back onto the truck. We're taking off where we left off, and I'm only going to show you what I'm doing. That's all I can show you. But the Houston Autorama was fantastic. Take your kids to an Autorama or your partner. Get inspired. And that's what it does. It inspires you. It inspired me. When I'm looking at automobiles that look the way they look, it sure does inspire you to go home and do something, you know. So here we are, we're back at her. When we left off, we had the fender laying on the side of the box side. We had the sheet metal going down to the box side, but we did not have a lip on it. I'm going to put the lip on the fender today and show you how I'm going to do it. You do it the way you want to do it. You can bend it over, bend to 90 and do the shrinker stretcher thing, whatever, you can do that. I've went outside and found myself some, I think it's 16 gauge. I'm not sure what I did with that. I think I did a firewall with it. And the reason I know it's 16 gauge, but it was just a little bit thicker than 18. So when you weld it up on your firewall, it does not all warp up and stuff. And keep that in mind too, when you're building things, certain thicknesses of metal for certain things is a great thing to think of when it comes time to welding something up. Like a firewall, you do not need thin metal on there. When you weld it up and gets all warped up, you can use a little thicker metal up there and use it, and it does not warp up on you as easy. I did want to go over maybe a thing or two before we start. There was a good suggestion on the stake pockets. When we did the stake pockets, I ran around, I bent a piece, I cut a piece and I bent it, and I cut the exhaust pipe and then I put it on. The second day I bent it on the stump there and banged it with a hammer a little bit and that sort of stuff. It worked fine for me. I got all 4 of them done. I'm satisfied with every one of them. But there was an idea that came in and I thought, wow, that's a great idea. So I want to share it with you guys because you might want to do it that way, or you might want to make a stake pocket. And to follow me like how I did it, it might be a little bit difficult, you know, banging it and going back and forth and that sort of stuff. And I'm all about trying to do it the easiest way possible. But there was a suggestion sent in. Here's a piece of 2x6. I could have got myself a jigsaw, traced my stake pocket off, cut my stake pocket out, took my flapper wheel, shaped the top of the 2x6 so it was round like this, so this could set on top of it. So if you're following me, I've cut the stake pocket out of the 2x6. Now I'm going to shape it with a feather wheel or flapper wheel, shape this so it's round. Then I could have laid this on top of the shape. I'm not going to cut it out or do it, I'm just going to explain it. I could have laid that on top of there and then bent that over top of that with the rubber hammer. I could have took a pair of vice grips and clamped it, or a pair of clamps and clamped it down this end. I could have clamped it at that end, and then I could have beat it with the rubber hammer and made it come to shape. And then I could have made everyone exactly the same because I would have the exact same pattern. I'm basically thinking that I had them pretty close doing this because I had the pattern on this part doing it. And I just did it on the fly. Remember though, also, on this part, you have to go get yourself some wood. You have to go get a jigsaw, or whatever kind of saw you're going to use. You could use a bandsaw and saw that out, and then you got to shape it, and then you're going to make it. I'm thinking by the time you've got that made, it would help you make all 4 quicker than the way I done it. But you have to, anyways, it does not matter. There's another suggestion. If you want to make a stake pocket, you can do that out of the wood. Cut your exhaust pipe in half and shape it over top of that. Thought it was a great suggestion. Just wanted to share it. But now I'm onto the fender I got the fender here laying on the box side. I got it at the distance that I think that I want it. Now I need that lip to bolt to the box side, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. So I got the fender here. I got some metal that was outside. I'm going to put my gloves on because it looks sharp. It looks sharp. Jolene looks sharp. Huh? She woke up at 9:30 this morning, looking like 11. And we had a late trip last night in. We didn't get in till a little after 1. Then we had to drive an hour and so home. It was a little over after 2 when we got home. But it was nice to lay in our own bed, was it not, sweetheart? It was nice to lay in our own bed. Got to thank all the people for the compliments and all the people for the good gestures and all that sort of stuff. You know, one guy gave me a gift, a Pepsi tray. You know, his name's written on. I would say it, but yeah. This is a piece of 16 gauge. I got a couple pieces here. I'm going to try this piece first. I'm just going to lay it underneath of the fender, basically, and fit the fender on where I think I can cut a lip out of it. That's all. Basically all I'm going to do. That's all I'm going to do. I know it says, doesn't say. I'm just looking, seeing if I got enough metal here. And I probably will just cut it out of this. And the reason being is, why not? Why not? Just trying to find a good place for it. Alrighty. I've got that fender laying on there. I think everything is okay. And the reason, what I mean by okay, is I've got enough metal to make that lip. So I'm just going to trace this line here. This is 16 gauge, nice and thick. Get a nice line drawn on it so I can see it. Also, another thing I want to suggest, when I already did one fender, but I'm doing this fender here right now. When I put this piece on, I took Jolene's suggestion. When I had it clamped to the box side, then I took my piece over and I mounted it on there instead of trying to put it on the ground and wrestle with it and try to hold this wet noodle to put that on. Thank you, Jolene. It was a very good suggestion. To leave it there, apply it there, it went on a lot nicer and a lot quicker. So I'm just going to pull this off. Got a line drawn there. Now I'm just going to sketch my wheel lip that I want for my box side. Just quickly. I want a nice size wheel lip on it so I have no issues when it comes time to bolting the fender on. If I put a lip on it like say like yay, isn't it going to be hard to get a drill or something in there to put a hole in it? You put it from the other side, I suppose. But basically, I want a nice lip inside the. I want a nice lip, nice big, fat lip. I'm just going to sketch it on. And the reason is because I can. I'm going to use the grinder for this. I'm going to use the grinder. Alrighty, let's cut that out. Got a zip cut ready. It's nice to be home. It's nice to be home. You know what they say? Nice to be home. No place like home. Isn't that what Dorothy said on The Wizard of Oz? I'm going to put my head things on just because I can. And I think it's probably a good thing to do. Box sides are looking awesome. So I got to get the fenders welded up. I'll show how I'm going to do this. I nailed that piece right over top of the fender, but we're going to actually cut that and weld that back on, weld that on. We'll cut the relief, the piece underneath, and we'll weld that onto the fender so it's not overlapped. We'll have that butted together. But we'll do that after we get it secured on the box side. I do not want to fight with a wet noodle to try to get that done. So we'll do that after a bit. But we got 2 fenders that we have to get prepared. Let's cut this. Grab another disc. The reason I think I want to use the grinder, I want a straighter line than probably doing it with by hand with the plasma cutter. I could have done it with a plasma cutter, no doubt in my mind, but I'm thinking that I wanted that straighter line. Now we're just going to take a flapper wheel it off. Take some of the rust off it. Clean her up. because I'm going to add a piece to it. Now I feel like that's going to be that's a nice lip. That's going to be a nice lip, 16 gauge, strong, and it's going to do a fantastic job. Put that down. Let's tack it onto the fender. Make something out of it. There's quite a bit of welding that has to be done, but in all, like, well, there's quite a bit of welding to do in anything, like, you know, basically building something. So I'm not scared of that part, of the welding part. I'm basically just going to go for it really quickly, or quick as I can, and then deal with it as I go. Let's make it work. And it was metal that I had outside. So it's you know, I've had it out there probably for a year or two, and why not use it? Use what you have. If you don't want to use what you have, you can spend your money if you like. Let's do this. I think I'll just lay it on its side, maybe. We want it to fit as best as possible. I want to do that 45 thing so I have a place for the weld to go, if you know what I'm trying to tell you. I think I've explained that many times. But I want that area for the weld. All right, one spot we're saying that we're holding it, two are in place. Beautiful. Now I'm just kind of going along here and just making sure that the metal is where I want it to be. All right. Did I get it where I want it, did I? If not, I'll take it back off and do it again. As you can see, as I got the metal, yeah, it's nice. Tacked all the way around. Now we've got a little piece to finish. Just checking it out, see where I'm looking good or not. I know Jolene looks good, but I want to know if this fender looks good. Good. All right, now we need another piece going down the back part here. As you can see, as I've done this fender, this shape here I rolled. This piece down here in the back I did not. I let it go where it needed, where it lied. I made sure that it was 11 wide, like the rest of it. But you can see down here, this piece here is in probably an inch further than that piece out there. That does not bother me because we are making a new fender, or a new, adding on to the fender. So basically we'll bring our piece down here and add it on here, but it actually makes it easier than trying to bend this piece in here, making this piece bend in here to get that roll. So when I let it just lie with the fender and let it go a little further, all it does is make the fender a little bit longer, and it doesn't do anything. When I go to cut this off in here, you would never know that that fender was in there. It does not have to be there. We got a little gap going on here. It does not matter because this is all coming off when I cut it. We are building our new fender basically for the truck. So in the end, we are taking fenders for a car and making them into truck fenders. So if you have not got, you know, a set of fenders for the back part of your back side of your truck, you know, let's face it, all fenders are not in good shape all the time. But if you have a set of car fenders, you definitely can make them into truck fenders. Just a simple step of adding a piece of metal all the way around and then putting a lip on the side of it. And you want to know how wide you want them, obviously. How do I want to do this? Got another piece right here. Looks long enough. Let's use that up. I'm going to take and cut my marker. I want to cut that so it fits first. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut that so it fits. And then we'll lay it down, trace it. So it's just as simple as that. If you have a truck and you're making a box for it, you're making the box, you have no fenders for it, grab yourself a set of car fenders and go for it. Piece of piss. Piece of piss. And the reason being is, I'm showing you. It was like I was telling the young guys at the Houston Autorama show. I was talking to them about, you know, what their dream was for their vehicle, or their, you know, what they were thinking. They were at the Autorama, obviously. They like cars. He wanted to be an engineer or whatever he wanted to be. But like I told him, any dream that you have, you must know it has work clothes on. So if you have a dream for something, or if you want to build a truck, or if you want to build a car, you must know that you have to put your work clothes on to apply that dream. All dreams have work clothes. How do I know this? It's pretty simple. Just ask me and I'll tell you. No, I need that. Come on. I want that on there. Did I miss my cue, did I? Probably could have done it out of a bigger piece of metal, probably. Nope, I just do it like that. That was easier. I didn't even need that trace mark, I need to get rid of that. Trace it from the inside. Okay, I just learned something, but that's okay. And you only learn things when you make mistakes, generally. You don't learn something if you already know. You already know. We're going to cut that line with a zip cut. We would never want to cut on the outside of it. It just makes it bigger. And we're going to twist this off. Kind of guessing. Made it a little bit long, that's okay. Let's go for it. It off. All we have to do is that trick again. Piece on there. And then we will have one fantastic fender with a nice lip. Nice fat lip. And we can put a nice a nice bolt and a nice washer. Like a nice size bolt and a nice size washer too. Make it fit. Oh, I didn't hook that back up, did I? I'm going to hook the ground back up. I have a little difference in width on that. So what I'll do, I'll show you. Trying to get that metal placed on there right, so it's placed with the weld when I weld it down there. Gorgeous. Just going to tack in a couple more places. I had the flapper wheel. Let's get that going the same. Got that off just a little bit. I want to fix it. What I mean by off is I did not get it flushed out just right when I put it together. So I just want to cut it. Baby's going to turn the welder back on for me. So I'm just going to flush it out a little better. There we go. Just want to hit the fender nicer, that's all. I'm just going to throw a few more spot welds up around here, and then we're going to try it on the box side. Really nice to weld because this metal is nice and thick, and the other metal's thick also. Is an 18 gauge. There, we have a lip on the fender. You can see how, I'll pick it up, you'll see how strong it is. Like it stays together quite nice. It's going to be a very nice lip to bolt that on the side of the truck bed. We'll weld that all the way along there. Where we butt this up, we'll cut that after we get it secured. Now, we've got ourselves one nice fender to go on the truck side. I like it anyways. And now we can drill some holes in it. You can see what they had on there before. It was quite wide also, but it's nice to have that nice lip. I feel, you try it. From experience, I know that it's difficult to shrink that lip and stick that piece on that fender. I've got a lot better shape with laying the metal going around it and then adding the lip later. That's why I did that, is because of experience. I've done this before with a fender for a truck box, and shrinking that lip made it very difficult to make it work. So now we have this fender done. We've got a lip on that one the exact same way. Had a smaller piece down here, but that does not matter. We've got our lip going around here. Now we have to apply and weld that on. What I will do, tack, 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 tack. Tack, 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 tack. Come back here, tack, 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 tack. And that way there, I'm keeping the heat down. So by the time I get, so now I've got every 6 inches here, I'll go in between each one. and then I'll go in between each one on that fender. And then it keeps the heat down, and I do not have to use the air. But I will use the air when it's necessary to keep things cool and keep things right. I'm saying that the fenders are basically the same. Basically the same. You can't see both sides at once, I guess. But we're basically the same. Just had to pull that out. Anyways, we've got 2 fenders made. If you want to make fenders for your truck, your box sides, grab a couple car fenders, add a piece of metal to it all the way around, put a lip on it. If you want to do the shrinker stretcher thing, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. But I find it much easier to do it this way. Basically. Alrighty, everybody. It's nice to be home, but it was nice to have the trip to Houston Autorama. That was fantastic. Had a great time. If you get a chance to ever go to one, please do. I think it would be worth your while. There's some talented people there. If you like what I have done, put a like in, put a comment in, share. Also, if you want to, get someone to subscribe. Have a good one, everybody. We're going to see you tomorrow.